Thursday. Good morning. Let's have a show. Let's drink some coffee. Let's talk about martial arts. Crunchy knuckles. See any tooth? All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Thursday. It's October 29th, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Good. One of the things I'm trying a little different, if I get my act together early enough, is when I pour, so I got this thing, I will pour just enough in to let it, to let the coffee grounds get wet. I read something somewhere, somebody talked about calling that bloom, letting the coffee bloom. And instead of pouring a ton of it in, a ton of water in, and it kind of forcing through, I just pour a little bit in at a time and let it drip. Seems like it gets more time in contact with the coffee grounds. I think it tastes better. Haven't done it enough times. I think it's only like day 3 of doing that, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Yesterday was a stressful day. Yesterday did not go the way it was supposed to. I brought my car over for an oil change. It was unavoidable. I also had to pay for registration. I'm still hoping that the state's going to force Mazda to buy my car back. Good morning, Nathan. So I show up. I've got a couple other things that I found, like there's a substantial defect in the leather on one of the seats, like really bad. And part of the car is already rusting. These aren't electronic. These are very obvious. I mentioned these to the service advisor. Good morning, Stacy. And he says, okay, I've been instructed I need to get the service manager involved with any more warranty-related stuff with your car. Oh, okay. So service manager, who nobody likes, he's a jerk, comes from his desk and starts yelling at me. Now, I don't mean he was like yelling, but his voice was definitely raised and he was being a jerk in front of everyone, telling me that for any more problems that I bring the car in, if Mazda doesn't reimburse him, meaning the dealership, I'm going to have to pay. Good morning, Andrew. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Every problem I've brought in has been documented. I've brought you video. And he said, basically, I forget what his response was, but it was essentially, I don't care. So now I have to go back and get him to put that in writing, because I'm pretty sure that's not legal. And we'll go from there. One of the things that has to be done involves repainting a substantial portion of the car. So I have to go get an estimate for that. I'm sure they'll object to my estimate. If you are the praying type, please pray that the state forces Mazda to buy back this car. I can't, my stress level, my anxiety, the amount of time I've burned, I can't deal with this anymore. It sucks. This car is cursed. So, yeah. I'm actually this weekend, it looks like, going to look at a 22-year-old vehicle that I am sure will be more reliable. I've been hunting for an older Toyota Land Cruiser and found one locally that seems like it's in decent shape. So, been messaging with the guy, and he's pretty hot to get rid of it. He's already dropped the price like $700. So, we're gonna go check that the way Land Cruiser prices are going, I can probably get it, put a couple grand into it, and flip it and make like several thousand if I don't want to keep it. People are selling, so it's a 98. People are selling 2000s, 2002s for $20,000 right now. This is at 7,800. So, yeah. Yeah, so I showed up at the dealership at 12:30, expecting to be there for an hour. I got out of there at 3:45. The Wi-Fi wouldn't work on my laptop. So I didn't get very much work done. And I sat there, frustrated, listening to an audiobook. But I came home, shook off the cobwebs, because I needed to. I had a call. I had a call at 2:30 that we ended up doing at 5, thanks to the flexibility of the client. And had that call. That call went well. And I did some email. And I went to the gym and came back. And if you follow me on Instagram personally, I made pizza lasagna. And it was really tasty. How did I make pizza lasagna? It was wheat tortillas and a can of tomato sauce and a lot of cheese, and I grilled up some sardines and put those on for some protein. It was really good. Super tasty. And just baked it at 350 for like 20 minutes. I don't know if any of you remember, back in the early 2000s, there was, who made it? I think it was Prego. Made something they called pasta bake, which was basically a can of tomato sauce. And the idea was you put a pound of pasta and a jar of this, and then a jar of water into like a lasagna pan, 9x13. You stir it around, and you bake it for whatever the temperature and time was, and you had lazy lasagna. And it was cheap, and it was super tasty, and it was one of my favorite comfort foods. I used to make that probably once a week. Because assuming I wasn't gorging myself, it was 4 meals and it cost like $4 to $5. Well, with the cheese, maybe 6. Not very expensive. Yeah. What else happened yesterday? I had like 7 calls yesterday. It just felt like call after call after call, and I've got 3 today. Got a bunch of email done. Yeah, it was a surreal day. And I'm going to make sure today is better. Well, what is happening today? Call with a martial artist client. And then 2 calls with non-martial arts clients. I should be done if I can stay productive. I should be done at a reasonable time. Oh, that is good. That did come out good. I think that's part of the secret on this. I think you can't pour too much water in at one time. I think you got to let it kind of drip through. Yeah. What's going on with whistlekick? I don't know. I really don't. That's not true. I'm mostly playing. It's been a busy week, like a really busy week. Last week at this time, Thursday, Friday, was pretty light. Oh, it's Thursday. There should be an episode out. Is this one of the ones with Andrew? I bet it is. What's out today? I usually don't remember that. Oh, yeah. Our conversation on junior black belts. Andrew and I had a great talk about that. Because, well, let's face it, it's a controversial, how does that word go? Controversial subject. And it looks like it's there. So you can check that out. Let me know your thoughts. Andrew, I like having you on the show. It's helpful. We have good conversation. I think we get better. I think we're better able to approach a subject collaboratively appreciate it. Andrew says, aw. I'm enjoying it immensely. Good. What's better than getting to collaborate with your friends in a way that you both enjoy and the finished product is better? I mean, it's, everybody wins. I like looking for options where everybody wins. I tried to give Mazda an option where everybody won. It was, hey, you take this car back, you give me a new CX-5, and I'm sure my problems will go away, and everybody wins. And they said, well, let's see how much your car is worth right now. And I said, like nothing. So we're not doing that. Yes, the trade-in value on my car that I paid over $30,000 for is a year and a half later at $17,500. Yeah. It's almost 50% depreciated in less than 2 years. Substantially more than the average car. Terrible. So, let's see what you all wrote in for me to talk about. And today looks like I've got 4 quotes from Frank, and he says, now some quotes from another of my favorite authors, Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie, of course, good morning. Dale Carnegie, of course, the famed author of How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, good book. If you've never read the book, it's a good book to read. I am not such a devout follower of it as others are, but I've read it. It's good. You should check it out. Let us not get so busy or live so fast that we can't listen to the music of the meadow or the symphony that glorifies the forest. Some things in the world are far more important than wealth. One of them is the ability to enjoy simple things. If you ask people, if you really, really get people to get to the reasons that they want money, it's 2 things. It's safety and it's freedom. Why do you want to make a lot of money? Well, so I can retire early. Freedom. Why do you want a lot of money? So I can buy nice things. Why? So I can enjoy my time. Freedom. You could make an argument that there's a third case in there, and that would be posturing with an eye towards procreation. Right? Well, if I have nice things, I will be seen as a more suitable mate option to others and will find a partner. That case can also be made, but it's most of those 3 things. How many people sacrifice their freedom and their health, aka in a sense safety, working too much so they can't enjoy those things? So they don't have safety and they don't have freedom. I have this theory that if we knew when we were going to die, even if it was, let's say the average person lives to 80, but you knew you were going to die on, January 14th when you're 87, you would treat your life differently. We all would, because we know what that endpoint is. But because we don't know what that endpoint is, many of us act like it's infinite. It's not infinite. We have to find time. We have to make time to enjoy what we have, who we have, where we are. I'm as guilty of this as anyone. I do love my life 90% of the time. The other 10%, I like it, and there's some frustrating elements I'm trying to change. I have work that brings me purpose. I have people that I care about. I have a cozy home. I have all the things I need. I have enough food. My bills get paid. I mean, what else do I really need? I don't need anything else. We're starting to see more and more people adopt this very interesting sort of minimalist, nomadic life. Go look at how many people are choosing to buy a van and live out of it, or a station wagon, or an SUV. They're not calling it being homeless, they're calling it car camping or overlanding. Because that way they don't have the expense of being tied down. They don't have to have as much stuff. And they travel around and they do what they want. They have a job where they can work from anywhere, and they get on their laptop. And what do they really need money for? Food and some gas and car repairs. We don't have to have the complex life that we all have. And I'll be really honest, there is a chance, depending on how things go, that I may choose to do that for a time when the fuzzball over there decides that her time is done. Because I find that really interesting. Am I going to do it? I don't know. Probably not. But it's an interesting idea. That's part of where this Land Cruiser comes in. That and the fact that even at 22 years old, it's got like 200-something thousand miles on it, but they routinely go for 500,000 miles. So still more reliable than my new Mazda. Ooh, I like this. Nobody is more persuasive than a good listener, Dale Carnegie. You know who's a great example of that? Me. Take a listen to Martial Arts Radio. Take a listen to the points where you can tell the guest has something else that they want to say. But they're unsure, right? You can hear hesitation in their voice. And what do? I wait. I am comfortable with the silence. I let them sit for a second or two. We can always trim the silence down. It's okay. But quite often they will say something else, something profound, something deep, something very authentic that is not filtered. Because I listen. The number of compliments that I've received over the years from people saying I am somewhere between a good, great, and the best interview that they've ever had, it's staggering. A large number of people say that. Why? I let them talk. If you look at the questions that I ask, sometimes I ask some pretty profound questions. Most of the time, I just let them talk. My ego is intact. I don't need to talk all over them. I don't need to make the episode about me like so many other shows. I just let them talk. I'm a good listener. There is no subject more interesting to most people than themselves. Let people talk. You'll learn about them. They will feel indebted isn't the right word. Grateful, bonded, trusting. There we go. That's probably a good word. Trusting of you. And if you want things of them, for them, from them, you're more likely to get them. When you're afraid, keep your mind on what you have to do. And if you have been thoroughly prepared, you will not be afraid. When you're afraid, keep your mind on what you have to do. And if you've been thoroughly prepared, you will not be prepared. You will not be afraid. It's nice and I know I should remember your name. The username here is Back to Base Jim. and I think I know who this is, but I don't want to offend you by guessing. It's nice in Freemasons, you learn to listen first. Yeah. We're taught as small children to listen first. You know, what's the gimmicky thing? We have two ears and one mouth. Yeah. Okay, it is you, Casper. Okay, I thought it was you, uh, and I thought it was you because I saw the O come through with the accent over it. You're one of our European listeners. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. It's not morning for you. At least not this early. All right. So I've talked about this a little bit. One of the challenges that I have is anxiety. And I've spent a lot of time unpacking this because it's something that's always been there. And I realized, I think it was just yesterday, that part of, oh, you're training. Nice. Part of the reason I get a lot done is because I am constantly looking out a few hours and kind of arranging these puzzle pieces of my day. Okay, so this popped up, so that rearranges this, and I'm thinking about that. But what I've come to realize is that I'm spending so much time thinking about what's coming in the future, even in the short-term future, that it's creating anxiety for me. I hope in the next year to get to a point where I have someone who can help me with my life. I don't want to call them a secretary or an administrative assistant because this would be higher level than that. But basically, someone who would manage my appointments, manage my calendar, delete my spam email, and help me prioritize and say, here's the thing that you've got to do right now. Instead of making me manage, because then my mind wanders and I've got all these things. Just give me the one thing to focus on. What do I have to do right now? Well, this is a deadline that's due. It's going to take you this long. You got to do this. Okay, let's do it. Somebody to make sure I have enough time to eat, that I get the work done I need to get done, that I go to the gym. Basically, I need some hybrid between secretary and wife and mom. That's what I need. I need someone to do that. I think I can get there. I think I can get that person. I need that money to pay that person, but I'm not there yet. I know, it's kind of a ridiculous concept, but it's got to happen. Something's got to happen. So, all right. And just to tie up the ends on that quote, preparation's important. Fear does exist. But what is fear? Fear is, well, I've talked about it as the opposite of love. So when fear comes in, I try to switch the situation. I'm fearful. Okay, what am I fearful of? Okay, so where can I find love in this situation? Love for my client, love for myself, love for my friends. You know, hanging out with a friend this weekend, my buddy Chris, who I've talked about a bit. He's a cool guy. Another martial artist. Most of the people in my life are martial artists in some way or another. And we've got some plans for Saturday evening for Halloween. You know, not dressing up, but just hanging out. We'll probably watch Leprechaun 3. He's been forcing me to watch these movies. They're terrible, but fun. And so yesterday, in the midst of the chaos at the dealership, he texts me and he wants to talk about plans. And I'm stressed. And I'm fearful about what's going on. And, you know, he's got a time that he wants to to meet, and I've got somebody coming to do work on the house, and I'm helping them, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to make everything work. And so there's part of me that wants to just say, you know what, let's reschedule. I can't do it. Okay, so take a step back. Okay, so that's fear talking. Where's love? Okay, I love my home. I need to fix things on it with the help of a friend. I love my friendship with Chris. He's a good person. He's treated me well. He's helped me get clients. Like, he's a good dude. I look forward to spending time with him. So let's just be honest about that. Hey, we can make this work. I can do this. I don't need to just push it away. And I feel better. Everyone should have a deep-seated interest or hobby to enrich his mind. Add zest to living, and perhaps, depending on what it is, result in a service to his country. Well, I think martial arts checks that box. Martial arts checks most boxes. It's a pretty great thing. But you already knew that. That's part of why you do it. It's part of why you watch or listen to this show, because we talk about martial arts. Everything comes back to martial arts. It's all kung fu, right? I have this idea for a new style of class that combines a whole bunch of things. It's probably a 90-minute class. I talked about my ideas for having a martial arts school that was more specific on each class. We talked about that yesterday. But this is kind of borrowing from the CrossFit world. If you go to CrossFit, I've ever done a CrossFit class, you don't plan what you do, like in a martial arts class. And the coach says, okay, here's what we're doing today. And you're addressing quite often mobility and strength and cardiovascular fitness within the same class. I see no reason you couldn't also incorporate self-defense and traditional martial arts curriculum. It's there. The foundation's there. And this is one of those things that, if we fast forward whatever, and whistlekick's big and has reach and money, we develop that kind of curriculum and offer it up probably for free. Hey, do you want to offer these classes? Here you go. But if you want to be certified to teach them, you probably come to a class. Basically steal CrossFit's model, because it's worked really well. Yeah. I like having ideas. Ideas are kind of the thing that I think I do really well. And if I had the perfect job, it would be coming up with these new ideas, these new ventures. And so maybe Whistlekick grows enough someday that that's my job. I sit, I drink coffee, talk to people, come up with cool ideas, flesh them out, and then give them to people to implement. How cool would that be? That'd be a fun idea, a fun job. That's a job I would do for the rest of my life. Something to reach for. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. If you are still watching, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. Catch it later in audio form, or you can watch it at any time. Go watch today's episode, or listen to today's episode of Martial Arts Radio on Junior Black Belts. And if you want to support what we do here, you could buy a mug or anything else at whistlekick.com with the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15%, or subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. Thanks for coming by. Hope you have a great day. Andrew, have a great day. Everybody else watching, have a great day. and I will talk to you tomorrow for our Friday episode. Peace.